And now I'd like to welcome and invite Eric Spina, President of the University of Dayton, to give some opening remarks.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate your presence here and appreciate your leadership of the Alumni Association. To both our recipients and all the guests, I'm really heartsick that we can't be together on our beautiful campus tonight celebrating our 2020 Alumni Award recipients. But I am pleased that technology does still allow us to get together. We do have a lot to celebrate. Our recipients are visionary and selfless. They're believers in what is possible when you chase your dreams, and each one of them has a story of great impact, as you'll hear shortly. Our students have come to believe that they can make a difference in the world because you, as successful alums, have shown them the way. You're their role models. I firmly believe that many students are drawn to UD because of the path that all of you have charted, both as students and as alumni, a path that's included selfless service to others, to your communities, to your cities, and to the world. I've said since I've arrived here, there really is a virtuous circle here at the University of Dayton. And I thank each and every one of you for the critical role that you play in defining our difference as a university, and most importantly, enabling our greatness. So these 6 individuals that we're honoring today, how have they made a difference? There's not enough time for me to enumerate all the ways they've made a difference. Let me just talk briefly about each one. Now, unfortunately, Dr. Doris Dries passed away recently, although she did know and appreciate our plans to honor her with a special service award. Now, do you know anyone who excelled at not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 sports as a student athlete in college? Well, Doris did. She later taught physical education and coached nearly every women's sport on campus. And as the women's athletics director, she pushed hard to elevate women's sports to varsity status successfully. We are one of the first universities in the country to do so, and that pioneering move paved the way for greater opportunities for today's female student athletes. Besides this recognition tonight, Dr. Dries is a longtime member of UD's Athletics Hall of Fame. Linton, Scotland, named 2 years ago as one of the 100 most influential African Americans in corporate America, is also one of our most engaged alumni. He rolls up his sleeves and gets to work in ways that matter, whether advising the university as a trustee emeritus, serving as a member of our campaign cabinet, launching an ethos project in his native Dominica, or helping recruit underrepresented students. Linton is a model of servant leadership and so worthy of his special service award tonight. I'm also inspired and really in awe of Clementine Bahiga, the recipient of the Joe Bell Memorial Young Alumni Award. She is a model of perseverance, courage, hope, and a testament to the human spirit. At the age of 8, she fled with her family out of war-torn Rwanda to refugee camps and settlements before they made their way to the US in 1999. She's told her story through her memoir, Happily Broken, Discovering Happiness Through Pain and Suffering, and in talks around the country. Everywhere she goes, she motivates others to be resilient and live purposeful, meaningful, contributing lives. Dick Glennon, a highly ethical and successful business leader right here in Dayton, is receiving the Christian Service Award for living out the Marianist ideals of leadership and service that we so cherish as a university. Another trustee emeritus, he has quietly supported Catholic education both on campus and in the Dayton community, including establishing the Glennon Symposium in the School of Business Administration that attracts nationally renowned speakers recognized for their business ethics. I remember like it was yesterday, listening intently to our Special Achievement Award recipient, Terry Lee Freeman, president of the National Civil Rights Museum, during her talk in the KU Ballroom 2 years ago. She told us that Dr. Martin Luther King's message is, quote, relevant today because he has demonstrated the sacrifice that is required to make change. His work was not rhetoric. He was not a dreamer. He had a dream, but his work was real, end quote. That describes this impressive leader too. Terry is a public intellectual and a change maker who has spent her life bridging differences and finding common ground. That's a special achievement worth holding up. Finally, our distinguished Alumni Award recipient personifies the American success story. Bill Crotty built Van Dyne Crotty Incorporated, the family business, into one of the premier uniform companies in the country. A storyteller by nature with an entrepreneurial spirit and a deep love for family, he's helping UD students write their own business success stories through the L. William Crotty Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. That's an incredible legacy. These outstanding alumni represent the best, the very best of who we are as a university. We're a university anchored by our faith and driven by great purpose. We're a university that graduates leaders who not only lead, but they serve others through their leadership. Personally, and on behalf of the full University of Dayton community, I congratulate you and thank you. We are so proud of all you've accomplished. We are humbled by your continued association with us, and we are honored to recognize you tonight.
Thank you, Eric. What an amazing group to celebrate tonight. We have a short video of each recipient which summarizes their impact and honors them with the 2020 Alumni Award. There are several honorees who are unable to be with us, but for those who are, we'll hear how their UD experience has shaped their life's work. After we hear from each recipient, we will have time for Q&A, so get your questions ready. If your question is for a specific recipient, please indicate who the question is for. I'm super excited to get to hear these stories. We'll start by recognizing Special Service Award recipient, Doris Dries.
For elevating women in sports at UD and beyond, and her support of UD athletics, we are pleased to honor Doris Dries with the University of Dayton's Special Service Award. Although Doris passed away recently, she was aware of this award, and we are appreciative of her lasting legacy. For his servant leadership and unwavering support of his alma mater, we are proud to present the 2020 Special Service Award to Linton, Scotland.
Thank the University of Dayton Alumni Association for this award. Being recognized with such a distinguished group of individuals by your alma mater is truly an honor. As a young man coming from the warm, tropical Caribbean island of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands to Dayton, Ohio, I had no idea what to expect when I enrolled at UD because I did not visit UD prior to my enrollment. I truly owe a debt of gratitude to individuals like Renee Bastelori, Dr. Paul Elo, Joe and Tony Saliba, Myron Alba, my roommate Ed Shoemaker, who is a fellow chemical engineer, and countless others for their support and help with my UD experience. I remember Christmas break my freshman year, not being able to go home to the Virgin Islands. My roommate Ed and his family graciously welcomed me into their home in Vandalia, Ohio, and I got to experience my first white Christmas. Mrs. Shoemaker, if you're watching, thank you so much. I am eternally grateful. The example of service to others was instilled in me as a young child by my recently deceased parents, Cressy and Charmaine Scotland. They demonstrated it throughout their lives. The phrase, "to him much is given, much is required," was not just a saying, but a standard to live by. At UD, this was further reinforced with the motto, "to learn, lead, and serve." The concept of learn, lead, and serve, taught and demonstrated at UD, has shaped everything I've done in my professional life, as well as personal life. Working with young people, seeing them develop in their career path has truly been rewarding and priceless. Whether it's tutoring teens in Delaware through Urban Promise Wilmington, or supporting or being with the UD engineering students during the cultural immersion Easter service project trip to the Commonwealth of Dominica, or mentoring early and mid-level career individuals in corporate America, my life has been enriched through these experiences. In closing, I want to thank my siblings for their support and encouragement in helping me stay true to my calling in life, and for following the paths taught by our parents, especially my older brother Ashby, my sisters Myrtle and Daisy, who is also a University of Dayton grad. I would also like to thank my wife Colette for her support, love, and partnership in this journey of service. Her passion for helping others continue to inspire me. Thank you.
For her perseverance and positive voice for change, we are proud to present the Joe Bell Memorial Young Alumni Award to Clementine Bahiga.
I want to thank the UD Alumni Association for having this group. I am very honored to be here with everyone. And I don't want to get too emotional today, but I just have to share with you that when I realized that I was nominated for this award and actually received it, I did not think that I deserved it at all. I did not think that I deserved it because I felt like everything I've done in my life up to now is just work that needs to be done. And anyone who would have been given the opportunity to do what I do would have done it. I think the University of Dayton should get the award of bringing authenticity and just my true self out of a girl who was lost and broken and really not knowing her place in life. When I went to UD, I came from, I had graduated from Chaminade Julian High School, and it was a very hard time for me because I was very lost. And when I went to UD, I was welcomed with open arms by the president, by the staff, by the students, and I started believing that I am worthy. I had been running for my life since I was 8. I had been a refugee, and I felt like I was unwanted. But that all changed when I went to UD and got the best mentors to let me know that I matter and that my story matters and that I can use my story to motivate people, to inspire others, to keep moving and not give up and use their pain for a purpose. And that's exactly what I did. I created the Claret Refugee Fund out of the most painful moment in my life when I lost my daughter. Now, without the University of Dayton, I wouldn't have realized that just because we go through pain doesn't mean our life is over. It doesn't mean that we're never gonna get up. So I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone who has been in my life. And I can truly say that outside my immediate family, the University of Dayton has had an impact on me that will last forever. And I have refugee students in Africa that are benefiting because I was shown that I matter and that I can make a difference in this world. Thank you so much.
For supporting Catholic education and his continual support of Learn, Lead, and Serve, UD is proud to present the 2020 Christian Service Award to Dick Glennon. Dick was unfortunately unable to join us this evening, but he asked that we read a statement on his behalf. I am honored to receive the Christian Service Award. When I look at the list of past recipients, it is very humbling to be named with so many people whom I've known and worked with, like Father Phil Holly. My job was to help visionaries like Father Holly achieve their goals, from the Dakota Center, tuition aid for urban children, to retirement homes for people from all over Dayton. In virtually every project, you would either see a Marianist across the table or someone educated by the Marianists, each of us with the shared goal of strengthening the community. All of the programs that Mary and I became involved with flowed from the Marianist way of life that we experienced at UD. For her passion to bridge differences and find common ground, we honor Terry Freeman with this year's Special Achievement Award.
Thank you so much for this incredible honor to the Alumni Association of the University of Dayton, my beloved UD. It is truly an honor to be recognized for what is just the things that we do. And University of Dayton was instrumental in actually getting me to this point in my life. When I walked on the campus of University of Dayton in 1977, I was 16 years old. And I remember being dropped off, getting my room together and thinking, wow, here I am at this university. And it is truly an opportunity for me to move forward, as none of my family had graduated from college prior to my going to the University of Dayton. And it was such an incredible 4 years for me. I do believe that it truly helped make me the woman that I am. So many good times that I remember between 1977 and 1981. Actually pledging Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Epsilon Chi Chapter, and learning so much about service through the sorority and leadership from the sorority and the university. Being a member of the Shades of Black dance troupe, which I actually choreographed for. Being a flyerette, in fact, initially being the only Black flyerette. It was an incredible experience. But most importantly, while I was at the University of Dayton, I met my incredible life partner, Dr. Boyer Freeman, who was class of '82. And we are the proud parents of 3 daughters who hear a lot about the University of Dayton. The work that I do now is really about pushing forward the legacy of Dr. King and ensuring that people understand the real history, the real American history of our country, the role that African Americans have played from the very time they got off of those ships that stole them from their native land to what we have become today. And continuing to push forward that message that civil rights continues to be something that we fight for and we struggle for, and we will accomplish one day. Dr. King had more work for us to do, and we need to continue to do that work. But one of the memories I think that's most important, I have to mention, is Dr. Florence Wolfe. She taught a voice and diction class. And I remember walking into that class, everybody said you can't get an A in Dr. Wolfe's class, and large, open, moving mouth, learning how to speak properly and correctly. And I remember her saying that you're not going to get an A in my class. And I decided at that moment that I was going to get an A in Dr. Wolfe's class. And I did achieve that A. I have to say that that class, that public speaking class, has been one of the best things that I could have ever taken in my life. Dr. Wolfe died many years ago, but I'm so thankful to her. And I'm thankful to the University of Dayton for providing me with an incredible foundation. My grandfather put me through college on a postal worker's clerk salary. I never had a loan, I never had a grant, I never had a scholarship. And I am so thankful, and he would be so proud. And my dear mother, who so many knew, actually passed away this summer, and she too would be very proud that I'm receiving this honor. So thank you. And to be amongst all of these other incredible honorees, it is truly a joy.
For his entrepreneurial spirit and the gift of experience to UD students, the University of Dayton Alumni Association is proud to honor Bill Crotty, with the 2020 Distinguished Alumni Award.
Bill was not able to join us this evening. On behalf of the UD Alumni Association, congratulations to all the 2020 Alumni Award recipients. What an inspirational group. I actually have just taken a moment to pause on all that I've heard, and these stories have been truly amazing. Please join me for a virtual round of applause for this amazing group. If we were together, that'd be a much more raucous round of applause. Thank you to our dedicated Alumni Awards Committee members who selected these remarkable individuals this year, and especially to those who nominated them. If you're interested in learning more about how to nominate alumni for one of these awards, we'll add that link in the chat. We often talk about how COVID has prevented us from doing things, but actually COVID has given us a unique opportunity this year. And that is, we'll have an opportunity to do a Q&A with these amazing recipients. And so I'm really excited to have Linton, Terry, and Clementine join me now for Q&A. As I said, if you have questions, please pop them in the Q&A feature. But as the moderator, as the host, I get to ask a few questions to warm the group up. And so, Terry, perhaps I'll start with you and ask everyone to answer the same question. What was your favorite spot on the UD campus?
Well, you know, the campus back then looked a little different than it does now, that's for sure. Oh boy, my favorites. I guess I have to say the Union. I mean, that's where we kind of hung out. That's where everything happened. I spent a lot of time, probably too much time in the Union, and maybe even also the bowling alley, because I like to bowl, and it was great knowing we had the bowling alley on campus.
Amazing. How about you, Lynn? What was your favorite spot on campus?
So, you know, I think I would have to agree with Terry, the Union and the bowling alley. As a matter of fact, I love to bowl, and I actually have one of the pins from that bowling alley in my house. So I would have to say that, yeah, the bowling alley was definitely, I remember one night bowling 20 games until my arm was just tired. You know,
wow.
So, yeah, I would say the Union and the bowling alley.
That's amazing. Clementine, how about you?
Okay, you're going to think I'm just saying what everyone is saying, but I would say KU. KU was a place to hang out, to relax, to get some great food. You know, I tried all the American food I could try when I was in KU. And you know, just connected with everyone there. I did enjoy going to the bowling alley also. Learned how to bowl at KU. I had never bowled in my life, so I mean, that was a great place to hang out. I was very social when I got to UD, and I was going to get everything I can out of the experience. And KU was the place to be because everyone was there. Where there is food, there is people.
That's great. And Clementine, did you have a favorite food at KU? Since you said you like to try all the American foods, did you have a favorite?
You know what? I have a friend, Aaron Grant. He was one of my classmates at UD, and he did work in KU in the lunch area. And every time I saw him, I would say, "Aaron, give me a Diet Coke."
Okay.
Even now, when we interact, he tries to mimic my accent. He says, "Aaron, give me a Diet Coke." I loved my Diet Coke.
The next question, and we can start with any one of you, and that is, what is your favorite UD memory?
Well, I'll go first with that. My favorite UD memory is, and he is on with us this evening, is the moment that I saw my husband to be. I was I was a junior and he was a sophomore by this time. And over the summer, he had grown a beard. And at that time, I was a huge Teddy Pendergrass fan, and Teddy Pendergrass had this incredible beard. Well, so there I saw my husband to be in the Union, leaning next to the, it was an ATM machine that was in the Union there. And he had on a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, standing with one leg. See, I remember all of this, one leg up and leaning back. And I thought, oh my God, what happened over the summertime? Whatever it was great. Because he would give you a story of how I never spoke to him during his freshman year and my sophomore year. But that is the most memorable moment for me on UD's campus.
I would understand why that'd be quite memorable. Linton, how about you?
I was a huge soccer player and playing intramural soccer. I remember playing Beaujon Field, and again, coming from the Caribbean, playing soccer in December, it's like freezing cold, and it was like rainy, muddy, but we won the intramural soccer championship that year, and I almost couldn't feel my hands or my feet, but the fact that we won, that was fantastic. So that was one of my favorite moments at UD.
Do you remember, did you receive a trophy or a t-shirt or the prize that you won for winning intramurals?
I think we got nice t-shirts. I think that's what they gave us that year. Yeah.
Right. And actually, that's right. I still have my UD intramural champions t-shirt for basketball and softball in my drawer upstairs.
Fantastic.
Clementine, how about you, your favorite UD memory?
Okay, so my favorite UD memory was the day I organized a conference and people actually showed up. So when I got to UD, I was looking around and I didn't see a lot of Africanism going on there. And I decided, I needed to share a little bit about Africa, where we're from, our culture, our food, and things like that. So I started the Africa Club. I didn't think anyone was going to join. I thought I was going to be the only member, Clementine, herself, and her, right? And so I went and started recruiting folks for the club. And funny enough, I thought only Africans would join, but I had more Americans in Africa Club than Africans. And we used to cook. I love cooking. So I got everyone into cooking. We would have drum classes and, we would watch African movies. We would just share. I wanted to share my culture with everyone because, as I mentioned, when I was in high school, I didn't get a chance to be myself. I was shy. I can probably tell you how many words I spoke in the whole 4 years I was in high school. So when I got at UD and I was shown that I can be myself, I was just ready to go out and experience it. So one day I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and organize a conference to just show our culture and have speakers come and see if this thing works, and I and some of the folks that were on the Africa Club, we worked so hard to organize this conference, and we had it in the Science Center, and we had over 200 people show up.
Wow.
And when I went in front on the stage to welcome everyone, I didn't even know what to say. I was like, why are you guys here? You all showed up? Like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And that just gave me motivation to keep, organizing things, to start new adventures, to connect with people. It gave me so much ammunition. And ever since then, I've been organizing conferences. I've been speaking at conferences. Thanks to UD.
How fortunate are we that 200 students, 200 people decided to show up, and because of that, that has started this amazing career of impact that you've had. So thanks all of you for sharing that. We've had a number of questions come in from the audience. I'm going to ask, and Terry, the first one is for you, and that is, what was it about UD that drew you to the university?
So I came to UD from Detroit, even though I'm born and raised in Chicago. My mom had remarried in my going into my senior year in high school. So my senior year in high school, we moved from Chicago to Detroit. And while I had been in Chicago, I went to a college fair at McCormick Place and just grabbed a bunch of brochures on universities, one of which happened to be the University of Dayton. And I remember looking through this brochure and trying to figure out just what type of school I wanted to go to. And I applied to both Michigan State and University of Michigan. I was accepted by both, but they were just too big. And I also applied to Syracuse, but that was just too cold. And so I remember us going to visit University of Dayton. I don't think I even knew where Dayton, Ohio was on a map. And we drove to Dayton, and I remember stepping out on the campus just thinking, this is the most beautiful campus I have ever seen. Now, back in those days, there were tennis courts in the middle of the campus, and those no longer exist. But it was just, from Marycrest and the Hill and, KU and just the incredible buildings. It was just such a beautiful, beautiful university. And it was, for me, the absolute right size. It felt like, honestly, I stepped on the campus, it felt like home. It felt like that's where I was supposed to be. And thankfully, as I mentioned in my comments, my grandfather had been saving for my college education all of his life on a postal worker's clerk salary. And he told my mother, he said, if that's where she wants to go, that's where she's going to go. You don't have to do anything. I'll cover the cost of her education. So it was just, for me, it felt like home when I stepped on the campus of the University of Dayton.
Thanks for that, Terry. One of the things that I have the great pleasure in my role to talk to alums from across many decades, generations, classes, and one of the common threads for all of them when they talk about stepping on campus at UD, that it felt like home. And it feels like home, whether you've been gone for a day, a year, 10 years, 20 years. It may look a little bit different, but that feeling that you get when you are on UD's campus is a feeling of home. So thanks so much for sharing that. Linton, besides your first snowy Christmas, what was one of your most impactful experiences at UD?
Well, it was interesting because, again, as I said, I'd never visited UD before enrolling, right? And so I remember my first, again, coming in and meeting my roommate, and I mentioned his name, Ed Shoemaker, right? And so here I come from the Virgin Islands, and my parents basically say, here's your suitcase, go, right? So, wow. And so I meet, I'm in Stewart Hall, and I meet my roommate Ed for the first time. And Ed is from Vandalia, Ohio, as I mentioned. So Vandalia is only about maybe 40 minutes from campus, right? And I never forgot. So here I'm meeting Ed for the first time. And Ed is there with his mom, his dad, his grandmother, his grandfather, his brother, his sister, and his girlfriend. And it's like, wow. So that was quite interesting. But again, such a warm environment. And for me, it was like people like Myron Alba, right? So Myron used to recruit in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. And he would go down to the Virgin Islands, and then on his way coming back to Dayton, my mom would have baked some bread and given it to him to bring up for me, from the Caribbean. So that to me was a sense of home. But for me, like taking courses with like some of the professors, especially in chemical engineering, and really, one of the most difficult disciplines, but really with professors that I had that really invested in me and made me feel that I could do it. And so for me, that I think that was one of the most impactful or memorable things for me.
Thanks, Linton. And, I worked for Myron Alba, who many of you know is a longtime director of admissions at UD. And things that I marveled at was his willingness to sacrifice, to take on those rough and tough recruiting trips to Puerto Rico and to the Virgin Islands, and his just willingness to sacrifice to ensure we found great students at UD. So thanks for sharing that. Clementine, moving to the Midwest had to be a huge adjustment for you, both in terms of cultural differences, weather differences that both you and Linton talked about, but just a huge change. And certainly, as you talked about your experiences traveling from Rwanda and then ending up in the Midwest, talk a bit about how you kept your identity and your sense of place during that experience.
Sure. So keeping my identity when I first got here, meaning going in 8th grade and then moving up to high school, it was very challenging because I was trying to fit in. Okay, I was trying to be accepted by my fellow students, but I also had to keep my identity. My parents are very strict. They are very, very African, and it's when you're a teenager and you're trying to fit in and be cool, but then you have African parents that are telling you, no, you're not going to wear that. No, you're gonna take fufu to school for lunch and sit with everybody else that's eating, French fries and burgers. It was just so rough for me. I had an accent. I was just very different. I was dealing with trauma of just surviving the war and living in refugee camps. And here I come, and it seemed like everything was just there. Like no one was going hungry. People were eating 3 meals a day. And some of my fellow classmates were complaining and whining about the smallest things. And that used to just frustrate me when I was in high school. And it took me some time to realize that, they haven't seen any different. And I had to kind of sit, like walk in their shoes and not expect them to see life the way I did. But then coming to UD, there was much more diversity. And my uncle actually worked at UD. He worked in the IT department. And I went to UD and saw him work, and just something about the University of Dayton, just like everyone else says, like you step there and you feel warm, right? You feel like a sense of warmth, of welcoming. And for the first time, being in America, that is the first time I felt like I was at home outside my immediate family. And, just being there, being recognized, being valued, and being told, like, you know what, it's okay for you to keep your identity. We want you to keep your identity because it is going to teach us something new. So stay who you are and be authentic. That helped me keep my identity. And the University of Dayton let that happen. Because when I was in high school, I was trying very hard to stay away from it and be like the other students. And I didn't see the value of me being just who I am until I got to college and was given that opportunity.
Wow. Thanks, Clementine. Super powerful. And Terry, I'm going to come to you because you spoke a bit about what you get to do at the National Civil Rights Museum, and as we think about kind of society more broadly today, some of the issues that we're facing, I think one of the most powerful experiences I ever had was sitting on Gorée Island in Senegal, one of the islands in which Africans were leaving their homeland and being sent off to Brazil and to US and many other places, and what that last step must have been as they boarded the ships. And so it's a powerful reminder of many of the racial issues that we're facing. And so my question to you is, tell me the best part of your work and the most challenging part of the work that you do in leading the museum.
Well, I think the most gratifying part of my work is when I have an opportunity to interact with guests at the museum who, in most instances, were not aware of the breadth of the history that we depict on the walls of the museum. All races, ethnicities, because we don't teach this history. We gloss over it. You know, people come in the museum, they know the name of Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and maybe Malcolm X. But when we start talking about Bayard Rustin, and we start talking about Ella Baker, and we start talking about Bob Moses, you know, these are new names to people. And then, as you saw in the pictures, having the incredible opportunity to meet so many people that we did read about, like John Lewis, like Farrakhan, which is interesting because the first time I saw Farrakhan was at the University of Dayton, as he was a speaker on campus. But having the opportunity to meet these incredible people and hear their stories, what it was like when they were out there, foot soldiers in the movement, and the messages that they leave for us. So that for me is by far the most gratifying. I think the most difficult part of the work is when I realize that as I walk through the museum and I see these pictures of struggle, and I see these pictures of sacrifice, and I see these pictures of terrorism, that I then turn around and turn on the television and I see pictures of terrorism, and I see pictures of struggle, and I see how far we truly have not moved over the course of so many years. When we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination, we used the theme that he, of his final book, which was Where Do We Go From Here? And we ask that question now almost daily, given where we are in our nation. Where do we go from here? What is the step forward? How do we get to a point where we actually can stop othering people and see each other as simply human beings who provide value? Something that was a part of the teaching on the campus of the University of Dayton. And so that is the most troubling part of the work. But again, the most gratifying is when I have the opportunity to talk to a guest who said, wow, I didn't know all of this. This has truly changed my life. And that's what we are hoping, that it actually inspires people to go out and do something.
Thanks, Terry. It's not lost on me that this conversation is, I think, a true testament to UD alums, that we're having a Q&A, and I feel like I've just come across some friends that I've known forever, and we could talk all night, and I really enjoy this conversation. I know that the audience is as well. I'm going to ask each of you a final question for tonight. And before I do that, again, in a special moment for me, I'm looking at this screen and seeing 4 alums, people of color, representing the best of what the university has. And I would just like to say how proud I am of each face that I'm seeing on this screen. So with that, I'm going to ask the final question of the night, and that is, what advice would you give to our current UD students? Clementine, I'll start with you.
The advice I would give you is be yourself, be unapologetically authentic, because at UD, you will be given the opportunity to leave a mark. You can go at any college in this world and get an education, but not every college is going to help you discover who you are, discover your talents, discover your gifts, and discover that you are a masterpiece. And in order for you to realize how special you are, how much of a masterpiece you are, is you have to just live authentically. Don't try to fit in and be like everyone else. Be yourself, because everyone else is taken. And everyone you speak to, you're either making them or breaking them. So be careful with your words. If you do not have words that are going to inspire someone, if you do not have words that are going to add value in someone's life, just keep them to yourself. Because I have lived a life where people have come in my life and told me things and they broke me. And I felt worthless. And then I stepped at UD and people spoke life to me. And slowly, by the time I was a senior at UD, I was already going around the nation inspiring many people, because I had great mentors, I had great relationships, I had people who spoke the truth about who I am, and that I am a masterpiece and I have something to contribute. So just UD is a place like nowhere else. I can say that for me, it gave me back my life, literally. Because when I was in high school, I did not know where my life was going. But after I left UD, I had the fire and I wanted to go out and make as much positive change as I could. I wanted to go out there and be a leader. I wanted to go out there and keep learning on how and develop myself to be a better person. But most importantly, I wanted to go out there and serve and give, because as a refugee, we take and take and take, because in the beginning we have nothing to give, but we take and take and take. And in life, you have, when you take, you also have to give. And that's just my life's mission, is to give life, to add value to people. And if you live every day and you go out there and interact with people and come back home and ask yourself, what meaningful conversations did I have with my friends or my teachers that added life to them? Did I do that today? If you have done that for at least one person, then you can go to bed feeling great. And if you haven't, tomorrow, get to 2 people and speak life to them, because you don't know what they might be going through, but you could just be inspiring them and just lighting up a fire for them to go out and make positive change in the world.
Thanks, Clementine. That was truly inspiring. Linton, I will come to you next.
I just have to follow this. But I would say, just follow your passion, right? And whatever it is that make your eyes light up, right? So you follow that. And for me, I say I work in the corporate space, and the big part of what I do is bringing value and driving savings of dollars, right? And while I enjoy that, for me, what I'm passionate about is the work with young people. So when you have an opportunity, so I say for you, the students, you really to follow your passion. And for me, it was that. And when you can do something that helps another individual, and you can see that transformation that takes place in that individual. I mean, that's priceless, right? So whether I could save millions of dollars or billions of dollars for the organization that I work, there's nothing like the impact you can have in helping a life transform, right? A transformation of a life. And that is, so I say, follow your passion, and, and your gifts will make room for you. And as you go in the world, then, people will see that, it will be evident, and the impact you can have is just, incredible. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Linton. Terry.
I think that I would tell young people to take the time while you're at the university to ask questions. You have access to so many people who have so much information. Ask questions, challenge your instructors. Don't automatically just assume that because they're standing at the front of the room that they have all the information to offer and you have nothing to offer. And similar to Linton, I would say, make sure that you are finding some passion in the work that you are doing at the university. Of course, we identify our majors and we think about what we're going to do as we go forward. And we're thinking about money that can be made. But one of the things that I like to tell my daughters in particular is that, yeah, we need money to live, but money isn't everything. And you really need to be able to enjoy what you are going to do in life, because you're going to spend more hours doing that than probably anything else. So make sure that you enjoy what it is that you plan on doing, and understand that we all reinvent ourselves over time. So what you're doing at 18, 19, 20, you may not be doing at 55, 56, 57. In fact, it's probably pretty likely that you won't be doing it at 55, 56, or 57. And then finally, I would say the school, what you see under the banner is Learn, Lead, Serve. And this idea of being a servant leader is something that is really important. And that as we learn to lead, that in our leading, we have to make sure that we are serving others, because that is what will last with us. And as Clementine said, you never know what you are pouring into someone. Right. Sometimes you just don't have an idea of the impact that you will make with a kind word, or a hello, or even a study buddy. You just never know. So I would say, ask questions, enjoy what it is that you do, and make sure that you are serving.
Thank you. Well, Linton, Terry, and Clementine, congratulations, and thank you so much for sharing your stories and having this great conversation. I mean, honestly, I feel as if I could go on for 2 or 3 more hours just to learn more. And to me, this has been the best part of the evening, just to hear from each of you and the wisdom that you shared. So thank you for joining us. Eric, I'm going to turn it over to you for any final words and closing remarks.
Well, I'm going to start by saying that I'm humbled by these award recipients. You are inspiring, not only in your words but in your deeds, and really you bring great blessing and honor to your alma mater. So really deeply thankful for your presence here tonight. Deeply thankful for your association with UD, what you continue to do in the world that shows our students, that shows all of us what a University of Dayton education really can be about. So again, you inspire me, you humble me. I've been reading all the comments and questions tonight. You've humbled and inspired a lot of people. I encourage the 3 of you to be certain to get a recording, and hopefully the chat and the questions will be there. You have a lot of questions still to answer, but again, I would just say thank you. And I'd also like to just point out that really each of you has a number of family members present. I want to thank the family members for supporting our alums. You clearly have been an important part of what they've been able to do. And thanks for joining us tonight. The last thing I'm going to say, and I think I'm going to steal a little Ray's thunder, how about this awards committee? Did they do a heck of a job selecting recipients? Wow. So again, thank you, Terry. Thank you, Linton. Thank you, Clementine. And Ray, thanks for doing such a great job tonight.
Thanks, Eric. And thanks to all the audience members who spent some time with us and to all the family members that spent some time with us. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and go Flyers.